Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Whenever we make a decision, right, we think of the consequences, right? And we look at, pros and cons. If we do this, what could be the consequences? And then you think, okay, these are the consequences, then what? And then what of the then what? And then what of then what and then of that what? So what I'm trying to say, you try to look ahead and to figure out what would be your reaction, to plan, to be ready in case this happens. Okay, and if case this happens, what next? And what next? And what's next? That especially when it's something very important. Especially when you, let's say, you go and apply for a job, or you start a new endeavor in whatever you're gonna start, or you start a relationship, or I don't know, you break up, or you quit a job. All these things are important things. It's not that I'm gonna go to the grocery store. I'm not gonna think that much ahead. You know what I mean? I think 1, 2, 3 steps ahead, maybe. You know, what the weather is, what the traffic is, what time it is, and so on. Get my money, get this and that. All right, but. And then what? If I don't find that, what am I going to do if I buy that? Where do I go next? You have a little plan. But with your life, when there are more important things, you try to use, to think ahead more than 2, 3, 4 steps. The more important the issue is at hand, the more you try to think. So you make sure you have your things covered. You can't just be, okay, I'm going to do this, and then something happens and say, now what? You don't want to be that in the middle of the big thing. And I'm going to do this, then what? And then what of them, then what? The same here about Ukraine and the war and the Poland issue with the missile, right? You know, that missile landed and exploded on the Polish territory. That's a big deal. Who did it? Because the answer will be different depending on who did it. And then you're going to find the intent. Was it accidental? Was it intentional? What the hell happened? And because you're going to have different reactions to different circumstances, obviously, right? I mean, if the Russians hit it purposely, it's going to be different than, let's say, accidentally. It's still bad, but not that bad. The same. What if the Ukrainians did it, accidentally? It's okay, accident happens, but 2 people died. You know what I mean? But what if they did it purposely? To create a false flag situation over there, or operation, right? What are they going to do? That more important. Then what? And then what? When you do this, what are they going to do? What do you think they're going to do? And now they're going to react like this. You got to do 3 scenarios. You got ready for all 3 scenarios. And then from those 3 scenarios, you probably got another 3 from each scenario. We have to be prepared, at least in theory. Because when things occurred, other details may come in, and then you adjust a little bit your response. But in general, you know the response. If someone punches in your face, there are 2 chances, right? One, you punch back, or you don't punch back, and you go from there. Now, if you punch back, it depends who punched you. If he's alone, he's bigger than you, where are you? And there's many things that, circumstances. Now, can you do anything? You want to do anything? You just call the police, you knock him out, or you try to knock him out. You got a chance, maybe you get knocked out. Maybe you want a little bit of activity, and you say, fuck it, I'm going to do it. Anyway, in this case, we have this guy, and you're very familiar with it. The American audience is familiar. His name is Sean Hannity. Okay, he's a host of Hannity, whatever, on Fox. I'm not going to give you my personal assessment of this gentleman, but probably going to feel it during my little video here. But anyway, so here is what Mr. Hannity says. This article comes from HuffPost. I don't care where it comes from. I'm going to take his quotations, so whatever he said. And it's from the 16th of November. Sean Hannity recklessly calls for Poland to attack Russia after unconfirmed missile report. All right, let's see. Sean Hannity is thankfully not in charge of a country, especially Poland. Anyway, listen to the audio below. I listened to it. The Fox News host on Tuesday embraced unconfirmed initial reports suggesting that Russia had fired missiles at Poland, killing 2 people. He called for Poland to retaliate immediately to prove the nation is not, quote-unquote, not gonna take it. So if Russia hit, the missile was fired at Poland from Russia, without saying if it was purposely or not, Poland should retaliate immediately to prove I'm not going to take it. Okay? This is what Hannity, how he thinks. We're going to discuss if it's... Hannity's hair-triggered bluster was especially glaring given that President Joe Biden cast doubt that the Russians were responsible. Plus, Poland and NATO later said they believed that the weapons fired by Ukraine to repel a Russian assault but accidentally landed in Poland. Hannity went full schoolyard war hawk on his radio show, and I'm quoting, "This is now a NATO problem, but it's also a Poland problem," he said. "If I was Poland," listen to this, "if I was Poland, I would immediately strike back at Russian forces in Russia. And you say, Hannity, you're going to start a nuclear war." And he answers, "No, I'm not looking to start a nuclear war. I'm looking to prevent a nuclear war. I'm looking to prevent a nuclear war again. I'm looking to prevent this from not getting far worse." And that's gonna help. All right, the only thing that should matter here is that there be a quick and appropriate response. Hannity said that, end quote. Hannity said that the response should show that Poland is not gonna take it. Twitter users called him out for a knee-jerk reaction that could trigger another war, all for what happened to be a terrible mishap. And this is a guy who says here on Twitter, he said, "Sean Hannity, if I was Poland, I would immediately strike back at Russian forces in Ukraine." And this guy says, yeah, right. It's good that you're not Poland, or something. He said, Poland is glad Sean Hannity is not Poland. Anyway, so this is what Paul, whatever, Hannity, I can't remember his first name. Anyway, what's his name? Jesus Christ, Hannity. What's his name? John Hannity? Not Tom, I know that one. What's his name? Hannity. Sean. All right, Shawnee. So Shawnee says that he would strike back at Russia. Okay, this is the first step. In his mind, that step, that he didn't think further, thinks that would end the story. In his assessment, his reason, thinks that will prevent a nuclear war. What do you think? I mean, I can call a teenager, put him right here and say, what do you think would happen? Russia has nuclear weapons, these guys have, 40 million people, and they don't really like one another, and the Russians are just waiting to drop some bombs on you. What do you think you should do, Poland? I think that Poland should really find cover, first from NATO, and then wait for NATO to respond as a team, because alone you're going to be kicked in the teeth. And even if it's NATO, if the Russians get angry, Poland will cease to exist. I mean, that's a fact. And Poland cannot strike back, okay? And NATO will not risk a fight with Russia. If there will be nuclear, it's going to be over. So if Poland decides to shoot targets in Russia, I think Russia is going to just say, there it is, going to play some piano. That's what I think, piano being the nuclear buttons. So, or the keys. Anyway, so this is going to play like that. So this Hannity, he thinks that's the appropriate way to do things. Now remember, Poland cannot withstand Russia face-to-face, one-on-one. Even if they would fight conventionally, I don't want to insult Poland, but we have to face the truth. And don't tell me about Ukraine, because in Ukraine is NATO against Russia, it's not Ukraine against Russia. Anyway, so let's say, and if Russia at any time can use something that you don't have, which is a nuclear weapon, and you can lose in a second, gone, forever. All right, so I don't want that to happen, obviously. Do you? Hannity says that would prevent it, that Russians will look at an attack on their territory by Poland as, yeah man, I think that's a fair game right here. I think you're right, give me 5. All right, sorry, my bad, it's not gonna happen, thank you very much for hitting me back, and I realized I made a mistake, my bad, ma culpa. Do you think that's what the Russians are gonna do? To Poland especially. Imagine that would be Lithuania, the same. The Russians are waiting for any of these Baltic states and Poland, these four countries had such a big mouth for their influence and for their real value in the world community or even in Europe, that the Russians are like, oh my God, I'm just waiting. I told you the story when I was younger and I was in a certain kind of organizations. They're called a certain way, but anyway, starts with a G. Anyway, and you were fighting, bum, 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 bim, boom, boom. And you had the strongest guys and you had the weasels guys. And the weasels guys were always talking, you know, talking from the shadow of the big guy that you wouldn't want to fight because you didn't know if you would win, you know what I mean? So you were like, but we know we're going to respect our distance. We're going to be tough so everybody can see, and the weasel, look at the weasel and say, motherfucker, when I'm going to catch you, I'm going to fuck you up. And you would catch the motherfucker. Somewhere around the apartment buildings and we say, hey, Emil, how are you doing? Yeah, come over here. Run, catch the motherfucker, beat the shit out of him, and tell him next time I'm going to beat you harder. The guy's going to go back, and before he goes in his fucking apartment, fuck you, Emil, blah, blah, blah. Okay, see you next time. And next time you find him with his guy, hey, Emil, what did you have with this guy? Yeah, but look what your weasel did. Hey, did you do that smack? Why? Because he's going to have to fight me because of that weasel. And he didn't want to fight me, as I didn't want to fight him. So that's happened a lot you know who you want to deal with, but those weasels like Poland, Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia are those weasels. If you remember the Lion King, remember? It was I can't remember the names, but it was the bad lion, the first Lion King, the bad lion and the good lion. Somehow I like the bad lion. Anyway, what a surprise. So anyway, that guy had the hyenas with him, or whatever, the coyotes, whatever those are, the jackals, hyenas, and they were at the shade of this big guy, and they were like over there. And the other lion or lioness, whatever, could not beat the shit out of hyenas because the hyenas went with the bad guy. And the bad guy was too bad, you know. The same over here. Poland is those hyenas. Left alone, run along the savannah, how far they can, and to the apartment building. You catch them, and then they're gonna be next time again. That's what happened. So again, Hannity, I don't think you've been around the block a few times, or not even one time, to think that Russia will just take it. How in the hell did you think ahead? You think that if Poland were going to hit Russia, Russia will say, as I said before, oh, thank you very much for, I was just bad, my bad, sorry. Think ahead, okay, they're going to attack you, they're going to drop a few atomic bombs on you, then what? Hannity, hello, then what? Then what? NATO's going to bomb Russia? Okay, and Russia's going to bomb NATO. Then what? We all die. Congratulations, Hannity, you got it right. So Poland should strike right away to show that we don't put up with this shit, man. Great. Thank you that, thank God that you're not Poland. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth and be just, Hannity.